Are you in your early 20s? Do you classify yourself as female? Do you use social media? Do you live anywhere other than under a rock? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, you have probably seen this, and this. As hard as I have tried to avoid the whole Shianified version of the internet that has seemed to have taken over the entire world for the last 2 years, something changed recently. I stopped working and I no longer have an income. I also moved all of my belongings into a storage unit in the middle of New Jersey, and I'm now living out of a suitcase for the indefinite future. In other words,
I've now abandoned all standards of ethical spending and have now regressed to the 22-year-old version of myself who spends money on fast fashion products online in order to fit in.
and just as a disclaimer, I'm not a fashion YouTuber. My Instagram is a hot mess and I cannot style a unique outfit to save my life. So if you're looking for a fashion influencer's opinion on cider clothing, this is not it. But if you're just another broke girl trying not to look crusty all the time, then this video is for you. So let's start with one of their most heavily marketed tops, which you've probably seen ads for on Instagram. It is the striped tube top. I am not a big tube top girl, but I have to say this one was actually quite flattering. I think part of it was the material. It has a very stretchy and thick fabric, so it hugs your body really well. I will say though, the edges are cut a little roughly here. I don't know if that was intentional or not, or part of the style. I personally think it looks a little bit unfinished. The other problem with this, there are holes right here where it weaves together in the center. This also happens to be right where the girls are. So when I was trying this on without a bra, I had a little bit of a nip slip already. So that's something that I would worry about with this if you're not gonna wear it with a bra. But even with this factored in, I will probably still be keeping it just because I prefer to live on the side of danger. So the next tube top I got was this one. It has a nice little sweetheart cut at the top. It is made of a very thick fabric. This is a mix of acrylic and cotton, which I actually really like that combination for less expensive clothing because the acrylic gives it a really nice bouncy stretch, but the cotton keeps it soft as well. I wanted to like this top, but it was a little big. I ordered medium and honestly this kind of swallowed me. I feel like it's something that needs to be a little bit tighter. And because it's not that cropped at the bottom compared to your normal tube top, it's a little bit harder to style because it's gonna have to be tucked into whatever clothing that you're wearing, unless you're into low-rise jeans. And next we have these wide leg jeans. I've been on the hunt for an affordable pair of carpenter jeans. I'm all about the cargo trend right now, and I just love adding those kind of details with the pocket and the extra buttons and everything up here. I think it looks really cool, and these are actually very comfortable as well. For someone who is on the shorter side, I'm around 5'4". These actually didn't hit too far onto the ground, so I didn't need to get them hemmed, which is always a plus. I'm still undecided if I'm going to keep these just because I'm not a really big fan of the super blue color. I think sometimes that can look a little bit cheap, but it does feel like denim. It's not like a jegging or cheaper looking fabric, so we'll see, undecided. And next up in the cargo pant category is these brown drawstring pants. I really liked the color of these. They're not quite brown, they're a little bit of a cooler tone, almost a gray, and I just thought that was such a unique but still versatile color that could go with a lot of things in most people's closets. They're also very comfortable. The material is pretty soft and thick, but, and this is a big but, they have a bunching that's supposed to go at the knees, and this goes down to my shin. So no matter if I were to cuff these or hem them, I would still look like a little boy who's trying to fit into his dad's clothing. So I think these are gonna have to be a pass for me, but if you are maybe on the taller side, like 5'7", 5'8" at least, I think these could be a good option. And here is the cargo mini skirt. I think this was maybe my favorite of everything that I got in terms of just the uniqueness, the quality. I really like the details of the pockets and the stitching. The length is also really nice. It's not too short, but also not long enough that it starts to look a little bit awkward. And I think this color and style is just gonna be great for fall, maybe with some leggings or just with a sweater on cooler days. So the only issue I have with this one is that the stitching is a little bit inconsistent. If you look at this, you can see that this is not quite even. The top of the stitching here on each loop is a little bit different. There's also some other inconsistencies in the stitching elsewhere, But since I'm not really living in New York right now and I no longer have creepy men staring at my headline, I don't really think it should be much of an issue. But you know what is an issue? The fact that 98% of you are not subscribed. Now let's move on to the mini skirt. She's cute, but she's short. Really short. Like too short for someone that's gonna be 30 in 2 weeks to be wearing in public. Fortunately, it is a skirt, so there are shorts inside, which can protect you, but no one really knows that unless they're looking up your bum. So I think I will probably give these a pass in order to preserve my dignity. But if you are under the age of 22, honestly not a bad option. They're pretty comfortable. The material is kind of silky, it's light. It's not super stretchy, but because it is more low rise, it should still be pretty flexible in terms of sizing. It really just depends on how comfortable you are with the length. This one is more Gossip Girl vibes, very Serena Vanderwoodson, if that's what you're going for. This is also a skirt as well. So we got some shorts in there. And the length is a little bit longer than the black skirt. So I think this one is probably right at the edge of my comfort zone in terms of what I'd want to wear. I do like the style of the pleats and the deep gray. This is one of the pleats that kind of come down here and then flare at the end. We also have this nice little band at the top to add a little bit more personality. I found this pretty comfortable as well. The material is a little bit on the thin side, but it doesn't feel flimsy. And because there are shorts underneath it, I'm not too worried about that. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent option if you're looking to try out the pleated miniskirt trend. These are an extra small. Can someone please tell me if this is how parachute pants are supposed to fit? Like, can you fit 2 bodies in here and that's normal? When I actually put these on and tied the drawstring as far as it would go, they kind of fit. Maybe as a low-rise pant, but they're still pretty unsecure. Like someone could probably come up behind me and just pants me really easily. So I'm not really sure if this is how it's supposed to go. Overall, the material is pretty much what you would expect from a pant named after a parachute. It has a little bit of that like noisy, tactile feel, but it's not quite as trash bag effect as you might get on some cheaper pants. So I would probably wear these if they fit a little bit better, but they don't. So they're going in the return pile. For what it's worth, I also got the white version. I actually think these fit a little bit better, so I'm not sure if the sizing was inconsistent. I did consider keeping these, but they were a little bit see-through, and I think they were maybe a little bit too long for me. But because we have this hemmed edge with the drawstring, I don't know if I could get these tailored. I'm sure I could, but it seems just more difficult, and I'd rather just get pants that fit. And just as a note, the drawstring at the end does look quite cheap. So you can see it's kind of like that really plasticky silver. I don't know if you really care about that. I'm sure people won't really look at it, but if you are a stickler for hardware, probably not the pants for you. And now we have one of my favorite purchases, which is the black cardigan. I have actually really been looking for something exactly like this that was a little bit light, delicate, you know, nice for layering when it's just a little bit chilly out, if I'm going out with friends, maybe wearing a dress and I don't want to have to wear like a big bulky cardigan or jacket. The fabric up close, I mean, it is really thin, so I'm not sure how well it'll hold up, but overall it doesn't seem to have any real defects in it. And we have these little drawstrings as well if you want to tie the front. This was a medium, and I think it's honestly a perfect length for my arms and for my torso size. It's not too cropped. I'm also really picky about fitted long sleeves that restrict your movement and feel like really tight in this area, but this one has a lot of give to it, so it's very, very comfortable. And last but not least, I did order one dress. I thought this was so beautiful when I saw it on the site. It has a very shimmery, silken nightgown kind of look to it. There are a lot of little details in here where you can see the flowers, and I think the color and the amount of shimmer to it is really, really beautiful. I just didn't find that it fit my body that well. It's pretty tight in the core area, so if you have a flat stomach or just a smaller waist, I think this could be a really good option. I don't, so it was probably not as flattering on me as it was on other people. I also thought the back was a little bit difficult to tie with all of this going on, so the material does feel a little bit cheap. I don't think you would really notice in photos, but if someone looked at it up close, they would probably see it. But for a second cousin or a coworker's wedding that you didn't really want to go to anyway, it would probably do the job. Most of the items I bought were pretty true to size, given a few exceptions, as mentioned earlier. I am a truce medium, which means that I tend to gravitate towards smalls and mediums depending on the fabric or the fit. And because Cider is known for not really showcasing a lot of models on all of their products, I was very intentional in choosing certain pieces that I knew would be a little more forgiving in terms of size if I guessed incorrectly. So for example, looser fitted pants, stretchier knits, all of that, you're probably going to be okay if it's a little bit on the smaller or larger size. So if this is your first time ordering and you're worried about the sizing, I would say choose items that are more along those lines. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised by the fit and quality. Of course, you can always get better items if you shop at places like Aritzia or Abercrombie, but not everyone has $150 to spend on every dress that they buy, and that's okay. I mean, really, Cider is no different from any other fast fashion brand that you shop from. And to be fair, they don't create clothing that tells you to feed me and tell me that I'm pretty. Bruh. But you should probably do that. It really comes down to expectations, and as long as you're not expecting a premium product for $15, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. Now, sustainability and ethics, disclaimer. Look, it's no secret, fast fashion is bad. Dropshipping is unsustainable and stealing designs is awful. And we all know that online stores like Shein and Shop Cider are the absolute bottom feeders. But we all live in a society. And just like my choice to drink 6 shots of espresso today in order to finish batch filming, we all must pick and choose our vices. And for now, this is mine. If you liked today's video, please give it a like, a comment, or a subscribe. It really supports my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!